More chaos and concerns in Gaza as hunger is widespread and President Trump is accusing Russia of playing with fire. We want to discuss these international headlines now with national security correspondent JJ Green from our news partners WTOP. Great to see you, JJ.
Hey, Michelle, how are you?
I'm well. So let's start in Gaza. This month, a disturbing warning from the World Health Organization. They say the risk of famine is increasing. What can you tell us about the conditions on the ground that are preventing aid from getting to the people who need it?
Well, first and foremost, Michelle, when you look at the pictures that are coming out of that region, you see thousands of desperate people out in dusty fields and roads and I guess alleys, etc., all running towards food. They've heard that there's going to be food brought to them, but it's only a fraction of the amount that's necessary. Some 500 trucks are needed a day. What they're getting or were getting was about 5 or 6 a day. So that's a recipe for disaster. And when you look at the fact that this has been going on for years now, there have been people who have lost homes, all of their family, don't have a place to live. They're looking for any bit of comfort they can get. And the humanitarian aid that was coming in there essentially has been shut off again, periodically. It's been shut off because of strikes from the Israeli military. Hamas is stealing it. Lots of different things are happening, but all of it amounts to desperate people that are hungry, and many of them are going to die, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I mean, this is compounding the already awful situation, what's happening with the war. That death toll over 50,000. According to some reports, it could be even higher than that. What do we know about the people deliberately causing some of these blockades, though?
Part of it has to do with greed. I think you probably already know that one of the real concerns in the region is that Hamas itself and other terror organizations have been stealing this aid and have been essentially putting it in their own pockets and stealing it, taking it for themselves and using it for themselves and trying to sell it in some cases back to people. That's one of the big problems. The other problem, as I've mentioned, there have been strikes by the Israeli military that have essentially shut down the pathways, the roadways, the abilities of organizations to deliver aid. There's also efforts, legal efforts that have been made to disband the World Food Program. There have been lots of different ways in which the aid that's been destined for these people or sent to them has been impeded. And a lot of it is not something that you can lay at the feet of criminals or terrorists. A lot of it has to do with political interest, and a lot of it has to do with greed and selfishness.
Yeah. Let's move now to President Trump and his belief that his administration is very close to a solution on an Iran nuclear deal. He's warning Israel, though, not to disrupt talks. Is Netanyahu heeding those warnings?
So far, yes, but here's what's happening with that ceasefire, or rather, here's what's happening with that nuclear arms negotiations process. The Iranians know that the U.S. is desperate for some kind of geopolitical win. It thought it was going to come in Ukraine. It's been working on the ceasefire in Israel. It hasn't happened, neither one of them. So they know the U.S. really wants to work out a deal with them, Iran. But Iran is in no hurry to do this because they are probably about a week away, not necessarily in real time, but I'm saying if they were to seek to put together a nuclear weapon, they have enough material, research, and know-how to do it in a week. So that's not something they're going to throw away or give up quickly or easily. So this is a part of the reason why these talks are important for the U.S., and we have this back and forth about how much progress is being made or what's not being made. But the bottom line on it is it's not there yet. Iran is in no hurry to get it there, but the U.S. is going to continue pressing ahead.
Now, you mentioned, JJ, Ukraine. Let's go there next. What's the latest with White House talks with Russia? Both sides seem frustrated and now resorting to name-calling. The Kremlin called Trump emotional, and he called Putin crazy. So where does this all lead us at this time when it comes to peace talks?
What Russia's doing, Moscow, specifically Michelle, is doing is what they do. That's a part of their game. They always call their opponents irrational. They call them, emotional. They try to essentially attack, their stability emotionally or in a very personal way. This is what they do. And this isn't because they're frustrated. This is because that is the blueprint that they have done and that they have known since the days of Stalin and the Soviet Union. As far as President Trump goes, yeah, he's frustrated. And I do think that he's kind of running into what many people already knew, and that is that you can't negotiate in a civil or democratic way with Vladimir Putin, especially a Vladimir Putin that's only interested in his legacy. He wants to be the next Catherine the Great or Alexander the Great or Vladimir the Great, if you will. He's not interested in democracy or what's good for the common man. He may say these things. That's because he's getting these good talking points from his people. But what's driving this problem is President Trump wants a ceasefire. He wants peace for his own reasons. But Vladimir Putin and his team in Moscow, they're not interested in peace or the end of this war in any shape or form. They want it to continue.
And so do we remain in this stalemate? Because we also heard from President Trump that he's not ready to put more sanctions on the table because he thinks that that could essentially kill these peace talks with Putin.
Well, honestly, I think there are other motives behind not being willing to sanction Vladimir Putin that don't have anything to do with this war. I think there are other considerations, and maybe we'll talk about those in the future when the time is right. But as far as this goes right now, this situation, Moscow is planning a wider war. And to be frank about it, they've already started that war. I'm sure you probably have heard of something called boiling the frog, which is a scenario where you put a frog in tepid water and gradually turn up the heat, and before the frog realizes it, it's too late. That's what Vladimir Putin is trying to do. And I've got this on great authority from sources in the Baltics and other regions. What he's been doing is launching very small-scale attacks in the region against Baltic countries that don't rise to the level that would predicate a NATO response. And what he's doing is he's taking territory, he's damaging property, he's damaging these countries, and he's doing it very gradually. This is his new way of waging war in the region, and this is a part of how he's planning to extend whatever's going on in Ukraine after it supposedly is ended in a ceasefire.
I have more questions, but we are unfortunately up against the clock and out of time. Always very insightful to speak to you, JJ Green from WTOP. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.